This is a start.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Sorry for the slight delay, but we do have a public hearing scheduled for 7 p.m. In regards to the 2015 preliminary budget. So would you read the public notice?
Please take notice that the town board of the town of Wilton, New York, county of Saratoga, will hold a public hearing on the preliminary budget for the town of Wilton for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2015. Said public hearing will be held on Thursday, November 6th, 2014 at 7 p.m. at Wilton Town Hall located on 22 Traver Road in said town, at which time all persons will be given an opportunity to be heard. Said preliminary budget will be completed and filed in the office of the town clerk of the town of Wilton at 22 Traver Road, where it may be examined by any interested person during regular business hours.
Okay, last month I introduced the preliminary budget that totaled $7,609,673. This board has did workshops following the introduction of that preliminary budget. As a result of that, the workshops, we did add $101,969 to the preliminary budget. So the budget that's being proposed for tonight to adopt is $7,711,642. So the budget has been on our website. There's copies on the table over there, and if anybody wants to speak at the public hearing, did anybody sign up? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, no one has signed up to speak at the public hearing.
Yeah,
Yes, there was
Yes,
no
he
list.
did.
Yes, there is a list right there.
A public comment.
Oh, okay, normally it's back there.
This is a public hearing on the budget. Is there any, if you didn't sign up, if you'd like to speak, you certainly have the opportunity.
For the budget.
For the budget, and then we'll still have the public comment. And
On Gavin Park, I know they're doing a good job down there, but is there any place that they could put that by itself, the numbers involved? There's some underwriting of the cost, and I'd like to see at a certain time possibly closing that gap where it doesn't cost, it doesn't have cost to the town taxpayers. Is there a place in that budget that's isolated just for the Wilton? And then the second part of that, how is that program going where donations are funneled through?
I mean, there's a revenue and expenditure side of the park commission, if you meant it.
It's the field day, what the costs are.
You're talking about park, or the park fest thing?
Yeah, the field,
Yeah, I
right.
mean, that's in the budget. There's a budgeted amount to do that, and there's a revenue anticipation through sponsorships.
Okay, and then there's a way that when I get online, I could find out the expenses that went against that.
Yeah,
And
the revenues against it, the expenses, we budgeted X number of dollars, and then there's a revenue side through sponsorship that offset the cost of the town. That's where you-
Well, yeah, offset some of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the second part of that question was, has it worked out to the town's favor? Any people, any corporations or companies that have donated to Gavin Park
Under the Friends of
under
Gavin
that
Park,
two-year
yeah.
program that they had?
Yeah, most recently, Saratoga National donated $6,000 toward the scoreboard in the gym.
Okay, these are what I've, the information.
Yeah, you know, they started that brick program out by the flagpole, and those are selling fairly well. So there's benches that have been sold for remembrance of family
Right.
members that have passed away. So it's moving along.
Right, okay, thank you.
Anyone else on the budget?
I just have questions. Since it's never really broken down every year, it kind of just stays the same. Economic opportunity, because it's only like 3% of the entire budget. And I'm basically looking at the programs for the aging, because the elderly in the town are usually the last ones to ask for help. You see this with our members at the pantry. And I don't know exactly what these programs are that make up the $20,160.
Is that under the Office of the Aging?
Yeah, it's under economic assistance and opportunity.
It could be the seniors, it could be, I'm not sure, Jeff, you know better. You
Sure, I can tell you what it is. Part of it is the cost for the, we reimburse the Meals on Wheels of the county,
Okay.
okay? And then there is $1,000 in there for the food pantry. And then there's also money in there for the seniors, okay? Which normally has a chance is for the, with ceramics and the bus trips. And
Okay,
for the
so
senior
it's like
center.
programs
So
for
that's
the
all
senior
part of that.
center? At the senior center or?
Right.
Okay, that's, because it's like I said, I have people come and they've really worked hard for so many years and they come in and they're hit hard times. And I just think that especially the elderly should get something back after their service to the town. That's just my thought. So at some point, I would like to see training or something else that's going to help them maybe get over some of the economic downturn.
There are programs that, and there's information, I think, on our website and the county website to help assist in home heating and fuel and those types of things. There's exemptions
Right.
that are out there that we support that reduce seniors' property taxes.
Right.
We certainly recognize the situation of some of our seniors, and we do everything we can to possibly help them. But more of the programs are on the state and the county
Right.
level as opposed to the town level.
Right. And we refer them, anyone, whether it's WIC or, whoever's in need. It's just that it's never itemized, so we really kind of never know, how that's broken down. I just would like to make sure that out of this huge budget, that we're taking care of it.
You have a
That's just
program
my
also
thought.
for
I
transportation.
agree with
seniors.
that.
Definitely.
The bus trips is all for the $18,160. There's all the costs associated with running the seniors buildings.
But what about like transportation, like someone needs a ride, the county has some,
That's
we
the
pay
county.
towards the
No, but we
town
pay
gives
for
money
that
towards
through.
For the Meals on Wheels.
No, the transportation for the
Oh,
seniors.
correct,
Yes.
right, the other contract that we have, yes.
If someone needs a ride, they can call the county and we pay a certain amount of money a
Okay.
year that helps with transportation, getting them to and from.
Yes, through the senior center.
Because
Office for the Aged is a good contact.
Yeah, that's a big problem because technically, unless you can offer them transportation, it's a liability, so we can't do that to the pantry. So, like I said, I was just trying to kind of expand and see what actually happened within the town. I know there is more county and state support, but I'm just throwing that up because it's just such a small number on such a huge budget.
We all share your concerns. Anyone else on the budget, to speak on the budget? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And I will call to order the regular town board meeting for November 6th, which we will begin with the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Supervisor Johnson?
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Stryker? Councilwoman Fletchertown?
Yes.
Councilman Lamb? Councilman McEachran?
Here. Okay, before we get into the agenda items, these are typical public comment sessions. Signed up. First is Jeff Hoffman. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
You have a good day sitting over the polls.
I'm not really commenting on anything, I'm just gonna give a commendation, and I'd like to appreciate, give our thanks for myself and the 59 or so people, one of them who was here tonight, for getting up and being at the polls at 5:30 on Tuesday morning, leaving at 9:30. I want to let the town know how much we appreciated their buying all of us pieces so that we at least wouldn't starve while we were doing that. Because people don't realize the primary elections aren't bad, but the general elections are really bugging because we're up to sometimes 3:30 to 4. We're at the polling place by 5:30 to have them open, and generally, if it was like over at the town, over at the courthouse, it was constant. Bing, 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 one right after the other. So I do appreciate, and I'd like to publicly make that comment to the town for their pieces that we got. That's all I have to say.
Thank you and all the others that sit there from 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. It's a long day, and volunteering, you can't say that there is compensation, but it's not much for those many hours that you sit there, so thank you. Next is Bob Gatlin. Good evening.
Last week I went on a field trip. I went down to Route 9 in Wilton and looked at the 300 or so apartments down there and the stores, of which there are only 4. And I estimated they're probably about 10% occupied on their floor space. And I went on Weigel Avenue, did the same thing, and I counted about the same thing, about 4 stores, and probably 10% occupied is a generous estimate. Now my question comes down to 3 or 4 years when I go on Route 9, our new development, well, I see 2 or 3 stores, 4 stores, 10% occupied, and my challenge is what can we do about it to enhance it? The Saratogian had an article on Sunday about how in Malta, I think it's a Malta one, they're coming up with a new scheme to get the stores rented, and to me it's like, okay, it's Plan B. Plan A has failed. They hope something happens to enhance that. Of course, my suggestion is it'd be nice to have some bike paths and sidewalks that would lead up to the corner of Northern Pines. Maybe the hamlet would become a stronger possibility if you have more stores to walk to and to bike to, and not have to take the car. I call it like you have to have a critical mass of stores and commercial property before people start to really use it. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Bob. We certainly hope that those stores, it's a lot less retail space than down in Malta where there's.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah, it looks like.
So hopefully, the developers can market that space, and there will be sidewalks as a requirement through that area. So we hope to be successful as you do. Barbara Collins?
Well, I was here last month and I'm here again, so there haven't been any changes. I addressed the topic of having people burning their yard waste in my neighborhood. A letter was sent out to some of the neighbors, and that did nothing. It was also in the letter that there are no consequences or fines, and over the years, no one's ever been fined for the fires that are illegal, but there's also, which is pretty clear, a disconnect of what the codes are and how they're being interpreted between the people, the firemen, and the town of Wilton. So since it's been a month, no one's gotten back to me. Joanne did come out to my neighborhood, walked around, and she saw where my one neighbor has all the brush, how high the flames were. You could see where the trees were burnt, the leaves 50 feet, 75 foot high in the air, which is hard to believe until you see the evidence, but it's still a problem. So I came here to protect my rights so that I can enjoy my property, open my windows, not have damage to my house, and it's not happening. So I'm asking for someone to get clear on the codes that we do have to enforce them. And on another line, we also have a dog warden, which unfortunately I've had to call on several neighbors. It seems nobody ever gets fined, even though we have all these codes. So I unfortunately have had to I go through the process all the time, research, document everything, call the dog warden, come up here, file the paperwork, went in front of a judge. I almost have a judge say, don't waste my time. But the person who is constantly not following the law, doesn't even have the dog's license, leaves them outside all day, and blatantly disregards all the laws, even to the dog warden, but she doesn't have any rights to fine them. So this just goes on and on and on. So on a new issue, since winter is coming, another thing I wanted to bring up in my neighborhood is the salt and sand. There's a lot of, we have so much of a flat neighborhood, we don't have any hills. We also have the snow plows coming on my property and knocking over my bushes and so forth. So I don't know if there's something, what had happened in my development. There's a newer development that was installed, put in. It doesn't have proper storm drains. So they're just literally holes in the ground. So the previous engineer said he'd have the town put more salt so that they wouldn't freeze, because our properties would get flooded. People had to get sump pumps, pump out their basements and so forth, starting back in 2008. So now we have tons of salt and sand, which is damaging the property as well. So I don't know if that can be addressed. So we need some changes. I have to still keep coming back every month. Thank you.
Okay, that's the last public comment. So the first item of business is we have minutes pending from our October meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from October?
I'll support the motion to approve the October minutes.
A motion and a second. Is there any suggested amendments or changes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, earlier we had a public hearing on the 2015 preliminary budget. It's up for approval. Before we do that, is there any suggested amendments that the board would like to put forth? 3% for the judges. So your motion is to, they're already in there for 2%.
They were asking for 4%.
Three. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second to John's motion to increase the COLA from 2 to 3% for the judges. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Any other changes? Recommended changes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2015 preliminary budget with the amendment just put forth by Councilman McCracken. A motion to approve the budget?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. I think we,
Let me clarify, that's 3% on top of 2014 rate?
it's 1% higher than
Okay.
And, once again, I think it's a really good budget for the town. Taxes, once again, providing all the necessary services that we already provide. I do want to thank Jeff, department heads, and my fellow town board members for the work involved in putting together the budget. Next, local law number 3, 2014. What this is, well, it's to set a public hearing, but what the local law would do is it would allow veterans on disability to not to count that income when determining the income requirements for the STAR exemption. Right now, veterans' disability pay has to be included in determining what that threshold is. So what this law would do is to eliminate the inclusion of that, would eliminate the disability income for computing the threshold for their exemption requirement. So, well, not acting on that tonight, it would just be setting a public hearing, which would be for December 4th, 7 p.m. Do we need a motion to set a public hearing?
I thought you were doing that, yes.
Okay.
So the motion seconded and voted on.
Okay, we need a motion to set the public hearing.
I put forth motion to set a public hearing.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next, White Pine Lane, I don't know what, is that even more?
I reviewed it, but it was requested elsewhere. It's a confusion about an existing road, Loughbury,
What kind of,
right, but it's also known as,
Lockberry Court.
right.
and the assessor.
The assessor's office has asked us if we could straighten out that confusion.
Was there a problem with 911 and other
She
things?
needs to change the addresses on the assessment roll.
Is that, can we just do that? Does that have to be a public hearing then?
I don't believe so. There should be a resolution, a motion or a second, and a vote.
To change the name?
Yeah,
It is White Pine, but I don't know if someone,
I think it's more of a correcting what they're changing.
Okay, I'll make that motion. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the assessor of the town to change the assessment rolls for the town of Wilton to accurately reflect the correct name of White Pine Lane, which is commonly referred to as Loughbury Court, and exists on the tax rolls as Loughbury Court, effective immediately.
Second. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion, questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next, amendment to resolution 111, the road acceptance for the mill at Smith Bridge.
This I am the original road, and I can explain. It's very simple. Back in June, when the motion to accept the Smith Bridge subdivision road was made, we're also accepting easements, utility easements along the roads. So the resolution should have simply included that we're also accepting utility easements over lots 64 and 65. So the proposal is just to amend the prior resolution from June by adding the language, be it further resolved to accept utility easements over lots 64 and 65.
Would someone like to offer that?
Make a motion.
Motion made by John. Wayne?
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions from Mark? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next, solar power. We talked about this, actually having somewhat presentation, not last month, I think, 2 months ago. Since that time, we've been pursuing, talking to other vendors. Jeff, you want to bring us up to date on that and where we are? And
We reached out to another vendor that was suggested by the supervisor, and just last week we received what their proposal was, and it's a lot better than what the guy presented here 2 months ago. So I have an email out to that person, kind of update, Brian, myself, and Mark, and anyone else who wants to sit down. So hopefully we'll get something next week, a meeting set up with that vendor.
And Ryan, I know you were out at the, we're thinking about putting those up at the landfill. I know you talked with DEC, and you want to kind of fill us in?
Yes, I met with DEC out on the landfill site and discussed with them potential of using the site for solar power, and they are in acceptance of it. They want to review any plans that are proposed for the new building. Has to be special considerations taken not to penetrate the capital.
I see where there's these credits or fund alone through NYSERDA that's still out there on that, so I think, we're pursuing and want to look forward, and it's a viable option, energy option for us.
I think there's a new batch of that grant money coming out at the end of the year too.
Any comments or questions?
No, I just think that's great. Wilton being progressive, I love it.
Okay, next, committee reports.
I have a couple things I'd like to mention. Last month, I was honored to be part of the Deceased Veterans Program at Saratoga County. Veterans Service presented to the Burns family. We honored 3 brothers, John J. Burns Sr., William George Burns, and James Ernest Burns. We felt that it was unique to have 3 young men from the same family enter the military just a few years apart to serve and defend their country with honor and distinction. And they were very fortunate to come home safely to Wilton and be active and productive members of our community. I'd also like to acknowledge our historian, Jean Waters, for her help, and Nancy Riley, secretary to the supervisor, for their help. I think it was very successful, and it was great honor to be there. Another thing I'd like to mention is Gavin Park on Friday, December 5th is having their annual tree lighting ceremony. It's going to be from 6 to 8:45. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Maple Avenue Fire Department comes along with Santa Claus and the lights flashing, and the kids are having a great time. We're going to have holiday music and Santa Claus meet and greets, tree lighting ceremony, and the Wilton Baptist Church Choir will be there also. So it should be a lot of fun.
Good stuff at the park.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a report on the Are You OK program. I have all my volunteers in place to make the calls, and I'm still working on trying to figure out how I'm going to target the audience that we're looking for. I've talked to the folks at the Department of the County Department on Aging, and there's a possibility that the applications will go out with Meals on Wheels. And I think maybe I'll be talking to Connie Towers and see if she can maybe give me names of some seniors that I could target. If anybody else has any ideas how I can locate the people that are most in need of being called if there's a town emergency, I'd love to take their name down and make sure they get an application.
Office for the Aging, you give them a call, maybe they can put your number in there. I think that might be helpful.
I've been in touch with them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great program, and it is on our website, but I think the seniors, sometimes they don't have computers and things, so maybe we could put an ad in the local report or something like that.
And even update what, our president should be updated.
John, you would?
We, opening on our planning, zoning boards, I like to get those seats filled. We had one interview tonight with Scott Kingsley, and make a motion to be appointed to the alternate position.
Second. We have a motion and a second to appoint Scott Kingsley. That's the alternate, that's an annual term, not a 7-year term like that.
Is the same pay for 1 year, second.
Yeah. You're rich. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I just have one item, and I think it's really a good thing for the town. I'm very excited about this, is that the Empire Center for Public Policy, just recently, actually last week, they came out with a report. And the report involved local government websites, report card for 2014. And the report kind of focused on that 85% of most municipalities failed the test. But I'm delighted to report that the town of Wilton was rated the best website in the towns category. There were over 500 websites rated, which included counties, cities, towns, villages, and school districts. And only 3 other municipalities scored higher than the town of Wilton. There was different regions too. We were #1 in the capital district, but voted the best overall. And we received perfect scores in public meetings, financial reports, taxes and fees, expenditures, and facilities and services. And there were some bonus points received for our videos of the town board meetings on our website. So I think that's a great accomplishment. I want to compliment Jeff and also the consultant, Spondek, that hosts our website. So
The department heads too really help keeping it current by setting us up.
I think that was great. And there'll be some publicity on that in the newspapers. It's coming very short.
I think it was successful because of our public push for that. And I think it's very good that we follow through with that, so.
And I also think that there is one particular resident that was involved a little bit in the website, if I'm not mistaken, Dennis Towers. Did he have anything to do with the website?
Little.
Well, there you go. Credit where credit is due.
So, but job well done, Jeff. And
So what's open on these zoning boards? Any other?
we have one planning board alternate and one now zoning board alternate.
No, just open. Scott was number 2.
That's number 2. So we have one planning board.
And we have still got
We still have 2 in the ethics expires. So,
2 or 1 on the other?
Oh, we got one more.
one more. So that brings us to Jeff and we go into work.
Okay, first item are the budget transfers and amendments that require town board approval. Any questions?
Have a comment. The recreation program expenses, overages from the summer camp programs and the after-school programs are supported every year with corresponding revenue. At this point in the year, as of November 5th, the department has deposited over $480,000, which is $25,000 more than the 2014 amended revenue budget, and nearly $50,000 more than the original 2014 revenue budget. So the recreation department is doing quite well. And any town board members have any questions for Mr. Steve Porto, he'd be happy to come to one of our meetings and discuss any questions about the park.
So we need a motion to approve the budget transfers and the amendments.
I'll put forth a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Okay, next time are the personal items, and the first one has to do with overnight travel down to the New York State Association of Towns. Well, there's 6 people in front of you. However, I do want to mention Ryan and Sue brought to my attention, Gerald Zavala. He is an alternate, and a few years ago, the town board, for whatever reason, did not want to send an alternate to the New York State Association of Towns. But that was a previous town board.
The way things are going, by the time the first year comes, it'll probably be on.
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept it as written.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? So moved.
Okay, the town board needs to ratify the decision to hire Aaron Bowers as a part-time clerk in the Justice Department, starting rate of $12 per hour, effective October 21st, 2014.
I'll second that motion.
A motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Okay, so the last one on personnel has to do with an email that Nancy Riley sent out to the town board with a change to the personnel policy regarding half-time employee benefits.
What that does is, you send it out, is that half-time employees with over 30 years' experience would get their health insurance paid. Right now, they pay half. So this would, if you have half-time employees, 30 years of service, we would pay it all.
35?
30 years. 30.
Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
The last item, town board needs to ratify the decision to auction off asset number 1036, which is the BCO's old Chevy S10.
Send it to auction.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Then, also just noting that the budgets of both fire departments, fire districts are on file. As required by the, filed with the office of town clerk. So those have been received, if anybody cares to look at those. This is plain well said. So, motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.